Too low, terrain. Too low, terrain. Too low, terrain.
This is the captain. Brace for impact.
I play Jeff Skiles, who is the co-pilot on Flight Cactus 1549. So I'm in the right-hand seat, and it's actually, we're flying on an Airbus A320, and I've just done my training on this particular airplane. It's my first time ever flying the plane, and I have the controls, and then obviously Captain Sullenberger, Tom Hanks, is next to me, and we get into a little bit of trouble.
Why didn't you attempt to return to LaGuardia?
There simply was not enough altitude. The Hudson was the only place that was long enough and smooth enough and wide enough to even attempt to land the airplane safely.
Air traffic testified that you stated you were returning to LaGuardia, but you did not.
I realized I could make it back, and it would have eliminated all the other options. Returning to LaGuardia would have been a mistake.
Okay, well, let's get into how you calculated all those parameters.
There was no time for calculating. I had to rely on my experience of managing the altitude and speed of thousands of flights over 4 decades.
You're saying you didn't do anything?
I eyeballed it.
You eyeballed it?
Yes.
Tom Hanks is an extraordinary actor. He really is. He's what I call a big boy, and there's a reason for that, and he shows it every time he acts. He's so controlled, he's effortless, and it's really an honor to be around him. I hope that it's having an effect on me. I'd like to learn some of his tricks. He's a very nice guy. Everybody loves being around him. He has a joke for everybody. He involves everybody. But mostly he's just Sully.
He was simply following the QRH.
No, he wasn't. He wasn't following proper procedure at all. And I know because I had the QRH in my hands. If he had followed the damn rules, we'd all be dead. This is a story that obviously gained national and international attention. It's an important story. It's a heroic story. A story of being prepared, you know, of managing your emotions and managing your body in times of crisis. And I think there's good lessons to be learned here. Don't worry, you did a great thing. It's going to be remembered for a very long time.
Here's the funny thing. I've delivered 1 million passengers over 40 years in the air, but in the end, I'm going to be judged on 208 seconds.
He told me that number one was they were always under control. They felt like they had a good landing in the Hudson. They felt like it was a controlled landing. He expressed that there was trauma involved. I mean, it had an effect on him physically afterwards, you know, with post-traumatic stress syndrome, lack of sleep, lack of eating, nervousness, that sort of thing, which lasted 2 or 3 months, and they got counseling for it. He's flying today. He's doing it, the international flight still, and so he's very much a flyer. He's a captain himself, even though he was in the co-pilot seat then, and they both have tremendous respect for each other and keep in touch with each other and feel like this is obviously an event, a once-in-a-lifetime event, and so it's bonded them. I was very affected by it. It was very emotional. I thought they structured it beautifully because, you know, from the time they took off to the time they hit the birds was 3.5 minutes. So how are you going to make a film of that? And they managed to build tension and weave a beautiful story into it, both a humanitarian story and a story of sort of, you know, how you could be a hero to some and a zero to others, because you have to go through the NTSB and they have to make sure that everything was up to snuff and that you guys did the right thing. And so the script builds tension through the NTSB while Captain Sullenberger and I are hailed as heroes in the outside world.